A lot of indie companies this week are trying to speak truth to power, and it's just coming off weird, let's be honest. DC had a great opportunity to tell a really great story, and they were like, nah, they'll buy him anyway. And Marvel, let's just be honest, if it wasn't for the Thor storyline, the rest of us would just be like, eh. All that and more on this week's episode of Poke and Joe's Comic Book Review. Roll that intro. Hey, what's going on, you wonderful weirdos? Thanks for coming by yet again. Love having you here. So if you don't know, I'm Poke and Joe, and this is a comic book review where I'm going to run down what I bought this week. Didn't buy a whole lot. Got about 10 comic books. Rolled through them all. Took my notes, so if you see me kind of awkwardly looking down here, it's because I can't remember all my notes from all 10 books. So without further ado, let's get started. The very first one is Dead Body Road. All right, so this is kind of a cool story. I get where they're going with it, but it just comes off kind of cringy when you're reading it. So we have a female. She's beautiful. She's smart. She's badass. Beat everything, yada, yada, yada. And her brother is a dirtbag. He's a low-life criminal, blah, blah, blah. He's in trouble with some local gangsters. I would say mafia, but let's be honest. They're in some trailer park heaven someplace. I don't know. So anyway, sister has to go save brother. There's a psycho killer, but apparently he's a paid killer and he forgets to tie her feet up. She escapes, house gets set on fire, bad guy dies. Part 2 coming up. What did the brother do that ultimately got him in trouble? That's ultimately the mystery. Also, the mystery in this one is, what exactly did she do in her past that everybody's like, oh my God, you need to be afraid of her. Oh, she's like super bad. Given your history, they keep saying that kind of stuff. What exactly does that mean? So apparently she's had some sort of training or something where she, I don't know, bouncer, ninja in the army, whatever the case may be. We don't know. So I'm kind of looking to see where this takes us. Do they justifiably make her a badass, or are we just supposed to believe that, oh, woman, big sister? I don't know. It's weird. All right, next. Speaking of weird, we continued on with this Red Border. Now, I've really been liking Upshot as a company. So in this one, we're kind of doing a whole playoff of illegal aliens coming into the U.S. Redneck Cowboy and his family take in the illegals. And they're like awkwardly nice to them. And no, let me be very clear. I live in the South. I've been to Texas. Like, I know that there's just been general Southern hospitality out there. I get it. These people are like way over the line. They're like, I'll make you tamales. I don't know how to do it, but I'm going to try. Right? It's kind of weird. Well, the couple that's there and the one boy that was with them, apparently these people like to hunt illegal Mexicans because there's a whole room full of head trophy things. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Speaking of weird, I don't know what my dog's doing in the background. I just don't feel like editing. So let's have an awkward sip of tea until she stops. Cringy. Okay. Moving on. Once and Future. All right, so now we actually had kind of a fantastic story going on this week, or fantasy-wise. So if you don't know, Once and Future is actually a good read. I really do enjoy it. The hardcore granny in it, the kind of learning to be in this secret world of mythical monsters and stuff, Duncan. And then, of course, his love interest is, the smart one that, the person at the computer, right, or the librarian. All right, so King Arthur's still alive, but he's in this other dimension. Him and Beowulf apparently had a little run-in, and Merlin set that up to send Beowulf after our monster hunters, Duncan and his mother, to go kill them. Convinces them, and it's kind of interesting. I see what they're doing, playing off these legendary characters and actually making them bad guys. It's fun. So if you like things like, I don't know if you remember the show Area 51, right? It's kind of loosely like that. Instead of artifacts, they deal with stories. So think of all the artifacts as stories. That's kind of what they're doing with this, and how you don't really kind of understand the history of it because, over the years we've watered it down. It's a fun read. It's interesting. I'm really curious to see what Merlin's involvement in all this is. Super good read. I would definitely pick up some more of this. All right, so we're going to move on and transition into DC. So DC kind of let me down this week. So we had this great storyline with the Spectre, and it just kind of ended abruptly, like for no reason. Like TARDIS was about to come out, and everybody's like, wait, I thought we were in TARDIS, or is it TARDIS? Apparently he's the living embodiment of that particular type of hell, and he's trying to get out, and all of a sudden Jim Corgan understands why he needs to be the Spectre. And then he tells God, I understand why I need to be the Spectre. So now they're buddies now. So now he's the Faith, or the Spectre again. jumps up and just, they didn't really show it. He's kind of vamooshed the whole thing. He's like, done. And I was like, wow, that kind of ended abruptly. They went on a whole tangent about everybody airing grievances with each other and being mad at each other and how holding this stuff inside is really not good for you. And the truth is, to some degree, that part was pretty intelligently written, right? It's a good allegory. But overall, was the story good? No, it's just like, boom. I think like you could have crossed this over into something really cool. Tartarus getting out, raising an army. Now you got your next crisis thing. Like you could have done a whole Greek thing. We tried it and failed in the Wonder Woman series. Maybe we could do something with it here. I don't know. It just seemed like a missed opportunity to me. What did you think if you read Justice League? Did they miss an opportunity, or we're just kind of just so used to this at this point? Ugh. Speaking of getting used to things, man, I was so on board with Justice League Dark, and they did the same thing in here. First off, this was a convoluted storyline. It didn't really need to be told. We could have trimmed this up real easy. But the fact of the matter is, the whole parliaments of life and the representatives of those parliaments and the different levels, it just started getting really kind of hard to keep track of what's a parliament versus what is a representation of it, and then how magic actually is infected with all this stuff. Nobody really knew. What we did get is we got Swamp Thing back. So he's no longer dead, and he's in charge of the Green, and Woodroom is now a human being. So everybody's happy, I guess. I didn't really express any type of sentiment towards that otherwise. So yeah, but at the end we did get something really cool at this. It looks like we're going to be starting to get launched into this Upside Down Man story. He's been popping up through this whole series since issue 1. And we're on 23 now, and we've only seen like minor occurrences with him. He's kind of got a deal going on with Wonder Woman, and I think it's time to pay that due. So this may actually turn into something pretty cool here soon. Batman number 93. I don't think I really have to say much here. Seriously, who's not reading this right now? Once Tom King got off this, we had this great storyline. Now we find out the designer's kind of back in play, but not really. The Joker is. He's just trying to make it seem like he is. Okay, great. Kind of convoluted. Didn't really need to go that deep. But we did see 2 possible deaths in here. Apparently Catwoman got shot and Harley Quinn's been dumped in a river. And all done by Punchline. They're really playing up this Punchline character. I think they're really trying to get a draw on this character, which is okay. I get it. She's new. She's edgy. She's equal. She's, all that great stuff. Good for her. Can it support the fandom, though, is my question. Eventually, are we just going to be like, yeah, we've heard this before from you. At least the crazies did something crazy. You're like trying to be way too edgy. I don't know. But I'm going to keep watching it or reading this, because I don't really watch it. I'm going to keep reading this as we go through this and kind of see where this character evolves to. I think it's least interesting for now until it gets weird. All right, next, Green Lantern, 80th anniversary. Oh, man, did I love some of the stories in here. What a wide range of storytelling, too. You had everything from, oh, look, this is racism. This is what racism looks like, to when I get old, I want to hang out with my buddies and remember the one that passed away and just have a beer and tell his stories, right? Like, I'm a member of the American Legion. We do that stuff all the time. And then we had, this is how it all started and why I feel dedicated to it. You had just this huge, wide range of stories in it. If you bought this, I promise you would like one of the stories in it. So definitely, if you did, take a second and comment down below and tell me which one it is. I'm kind of curious what the fandom's out there reading these days. Which one did you think was just like, that's the story right there? Next. All right, so in the beginning I said, man, thank goodness for Thor this week. Well, Thor was in 2 stories, and honestly, he saved them. His own, and of course, he was over in the Avengers. But first, let's talk about this Thor deal. So come to find out, so Thor is the herald of Galactus, but Galactus is the herald of the Dark Winter. Yeah, we found that out in here. How cool was that? Also, we kind of get an experience of what his powers are. Apparently, he can manipulate things and create things. At one point, Thor had to fight like all of his major villains at one point. It was awesome. It's kind of like an homage that this guy's kind of always been around. Like, how else would he know that? Yeah, you can go with the mind-reading thing, but I don't think the writer here is lazy. I don't think he's going to go that route. I think we're going to find out that this Dark Winter person has been around for quite some time. But seeing Galactus get all mad because he's the herald, and it kind of makes sense, you know. There's always a bigger fish in the pond, right? Eat or be eaten. So it only makes sense at some point. The largest thing we knew of at this time, besides maybe eternity, you know, being Galactus, actually seeing that something is bigger than him and more stronger than him. I found it refreshing and eye-opening. And is it a new appearance, a first appearance? I don't really get into that, but I'm going to tell you what, it's a good read either way. Next, Immortal Hulk. All right, so we got a lot of the leader and how the leader was the leader, and then he was dead, and then human, and dead, and human, and then leader again, and just kind of jump back and forth. Basically, we were just reminded who the leader is and kind of get his backstory caught up because it's obviously going to play some sort of role here. The problem is we just saw the leader not too long ago in the whole Weapon X, and he was like, he was there. He fell in love with somebody, as kinky as it was, or weird. Let's have an awkward sip. It was weird. Yeah. If you didn't read that storyline, you're not missing much. Apparently, they're jumping off that particular behavior, and they're moving them into this one. So basically, all it is man of science finding faith, right? So that truly makes him dangerous at the end of the day. Because when you have faith, you don't fear death, and if you're smart enough, you can cheat death in some cases. So kind of interesting where they're going with this. I don't know, though. Honestly, Immortal Hulk's been kind of dying out for me lately. It seems like the storyline's getting kind of flat. It was really cool. And I just don't see the leader as something that I really want to jump into and really, really read about. He's interesting enough, but can he sustain a storyline? I just don't think so. Last but not least, yes, another great book with Thor in it, and everybody else was in it. Empire #0. So we've been seeing incoming and the little hints of this whole Skrull and Kree. This whole Skull and Kree thing, kind of them teaming up, and they got an ultimate leader, but really it's, you know, he's a useful idiot because he's got the powers behind him that are really controlling things. We got a problem with some people on the moon who are plant people. We kind of know that they do kill, but we were told in this one they don't, so there's some confusion there. That's fine. But the cool thing about this is we get the Swordman back, or a version of the Swordman, I should say. And we also, and I'm going to mess this person's name up. I even spelled it phonetically. Let's see what we got. Sequoia? His name? It's hard to tell, honestly. Sequoia is back. Sequoia is not new to comic books. They've been around before. Him and Thor actually ran together. And they actually mentioned that in here in kind of a flashback. But we're getting a lot of like daydreaming from Tony Stark in this too, and it's kind of like that's where your motivational speech comes, you know. And then they're gonna team up with the plant people, and they're gonna go fight this new invading army. The problem is, and the only reason probably why I'll stay on this is because on the other side, the Fantastic Four think they need to help the Kree and Skull. So we have, that's right, a major crisis happening. They're gonna battle it up. We've seen it. We know it's going to come around. The question is who's doing something cool, and will we get any new characters out of it like we have in the past, or the mention of new characters? I don't know. Maybe some of you speculators out there might want to comment below. So other than that, guys, that's all I got. So as the show goes on over the next month here or so, you may start seeing like a lot of weird things in the background, like boxes and stuff like that. Me and my wife have decided that we want to move out of this surrounding habitat, and we wish to move to another one where maybe other living organisms with mouth holes with voices that come out of them aren't so close to us, because we're getting old and we're grumpy. So, so if you start seeing that in the background, I do apologize, but don't worry, I'm keeping you guys in mind for the next house. We're dedicating a room just for comic book stuff, and so, you know, we'll do a room tour and all that kind of stuff. So definitely keep your eyes open for that. Who knows? Maybe you can even help me decorate, because I don't have good taste. And you see the stuff I read, and you see what I say about it, and you're like, you already know. All right, guys, I got to get out of here. I got to fly. I got a show tonight at Blaster Stash at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You might want to show up. That's Friday night. That is tonight. You definitely want to swing by. We're going to have that live chat going. Definitely talk to us. Tell us what you think about these books. All right, bye.